Let's talk about the Legend of Zelda movie. Yesterday, Mr. Shigeru Miyamoto, the creator of the Legend of Zelda series, announced on Twitter that a Legend of Zelda movie was officially in the works. But here's the kicker. It's going to be a live-action film, not an animated film. And the reaction on the internet to this news so far is mixed. Now, I can imagine most of us expected an animated Legend of Zelda film, which would have been incredible. It could have been a 3D CGI animation like the Super Mario Bros. Movie by Illumination. I prefer Nintendo make a 2D cartoon animated Zelda film, though the reality of that happening seems highly unlikely. Unless I make it, wink wink. Now, only a few creators have successfully produced great-looking CGI adaptations of the Zelda universe, but other than the few outliers that are still producing content, there's not much out there to sift through. I attest that the 3D models of Link from the Smash Bros. Ultimate trailers are likely the best renditions of a 3D Zelda that we've gotten so far. There was a 3D animated Zelda movie pitched by Imagi Studios. They were known for 2009's Astro Boy and 2007's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle CGI films. They produced an official proof of concept of the Zelda movie, but the movie was never made. However, there's still a remnant of its existence on the internet. Let's check it out. It looks kinda cool. Admittedly, it hasn't aged that well. It looks almost like CGI graphics from a PlayStation 3. And the character designs look like they're coming straight out of 2015's animated film Strange Magic, a movie I very much liked. There have been some incredible 2D renditions of Zelda that have been created. Ones that stand out from, say, the Zelda CDI animations. There are a few 2D Zelda animations that are officially from Nintendo, like the Super Smash Bros. Teaser with Link fighting Pit. However, from what I've come across, most of the 2D animations of Zelda on the internet are not officially from Nintendo. A couple of creators on YouTube have produced astonishing works that almost come off official. It goes to show that even from a smaller creator or from a small team of people, an immaculate looking 2D animation can be produced. Okay, so the movie isn't going to be 2D or 3D animated. Bummer. I think Nintendo truly dropped the ball on this one. Suffice it to say, I am biased because I have a deep and personal love for animation, especially 2D animation. In fact, I have a few 2D animated Zelda videos on my channel. So Nintendo has officially announced a live-action Legend of Zelda film. Now, this could be the greatest thing to ever happen in the history of film entertainment, or it could be a complete disaster. It could become the new Last Airbender. Yes, I know, that was a terrible film. And the live-action Super Mario Bros. Movie from the 90s is generally considered a disaster. And while it does detract from the source material, and some of the scenes are awkward, I still very much enjoyed this movie. It was fun and campy. Admittedly, I think there are really cool creative adaptations for core characters from the franchise. Now, if the new Zelda movie is anything like the 90s Mario movie, then okay, yeah. The internet has every right to freak out. But let's give Nintendo the benefit of the doubt. It could end up looking like James Cameron's Avatar. You know, those two movies with the blue people that made $1 billion each. If they put utmost effort into the visuals for the Zelda film and really gave us an impactful story, then for all we know, this could end up becoming the highest grossing box office film in history. I mean, they could have followed the Super Mario Bros. Movie success formula and just had Illumination make the film again. All Nintendo and Universal have to do is basically mimic the marketing campaign they did for the Super Mario Bros. Movie. But for some reason, they did not choose that route. My guess is that Shigeru Miyamoto has always dreamed of a live-action Zelda film. He probably knew, though, that it was an enormous undertaking, and the risks of failure were astronomically high. He and Nintendo were likely scarred from the 1990s Mario movie debacle. Supposedly, after that film was released, Nintendo never again agreed to a film adaptation of any of their works. But then the 2023 Mario movie made $1 billion, and he was probably like, you know what? They're expecting a Zelda movie to come out next, so I'm gonna give it to them, but I'm gonna throw them a curveball while I'm at it. And he threw us that curveball, and it hit us straight on the arm. It wasn't the greatest feeling in the world, and it was unexpected, but it's part of the game, and we're gonna keep moving forward. That's how I feel about this upcoming live-action adaptation announcement. Smaller creators on the internet have attempted to bring Zelda into the live-action sphere. Creators on YouTube like Corridor, Rare, and even IGN have produced works that look pretty cool, with a bit of production value added for a more impactful and entertaining viewing experience. There's even a live-action parody of Zelda that was produced about 15 years ago, The Legend of Neil. I wouldn't recommend the live-action parody to kids because the parody series has adult themes. Still, in the end, these examples are fan-made adaptations, and they very much appear this way, amateur. The actual film will look nothing like this, and probably will look more like the Hobbit films, or if they decided to take a grungier, darker route, they could even have George Miller from Mad Max Fury Road executive produce it and stylize the film to look like the older Lord of the Rings films from the early 2000s. Miyamoto spilled the beans that he's been cooking up this project with producer Avi Arad for ages. I'm not sure if I'm saying his name correctly. And they've got Wes Ball directing the thing too. And get this, the movie's funded by both Nintendo and Sony Pictures. Now, Arad is supposed to be this hotshot producer, but here's the deal. He's been riding the Spider-Man wave for ages. Seriously, since 2012, most of his projects have been Spider-Man related. Some folks are skeptical, thinking maybe he's not the right fit for a Zelda movie. I think the Spider-Man films are fun, and that's exactly what Zelda should be. A fun ride. And then there's Wes Ball, this director. He did the Maze Runner trilogy, which I also very much liked. Although I've only seen the first two films, maybe that does say something. I wasn't motivated enough to watch the third film. It's not exactly the experience you'd expect for a massive project like Zelda. Still, he was gonna direct this movie called Mouse Guard, but that got canceled. The concept art looked cool, so who knows? If the Zelda movie looks anything like this, I'd be pretty stoked about it. As for the writer of the film, his name's Derek Connolly. He penned the scripts for the recent Jurassic World films and Detective Pikachu, which was a forgettable film to me, so I'm iffy on Derek being the writer for Zelda. But I did enjoy the last Jurassic World film, Dominion. It wasn't to be taken seriously, it was just a fun ride. Again, that's what a Zelda movie should be. Now, truth be told, none of these guys, Arad, Ball, Connolly, make you jump out of your seat with excitement. But hey, remember when everyone doubted Illumination doing the Super Mario Bros. Movie? It turned out pretty decent, and it made a boatload of cash. Maybe Zelda will follow suit. Who knows? I can assume that this Zelda film is going to take off. But that's just my hope talking. I want it to take off. We don't want this thing to fail, right? Now all our eyes are on who they'll cast as Link in Zelda. Machine Gun Kelly recently announced that if he isn't chosen to play Link in this newest film, then there's a problem.
To be selected as Link and Zelda in the upcoming Legend of Zelda live-action film will certainly boost the careers of whoever's chosen.
And then there's the issue with the storyline for the film. Zelda lore is ginormous! So which part of it will Nintendo adapt into live action? I think the answer is pretty clear. It's likely going to be Ocarina of Time. Ocarina of Time, to me, is staple Zelda. When I think about Zelda, my mind goes to Ocarina of Time. It naturally does that. Now, the film could be a Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom adaptation.
Considering this version of Zelda is more recently ingrained in our collective consciousness,
but there's something about that Peter Pan-looking version of Link that really touches our hearts and souls. What do you think? Should the live-action film chronicle Skyward Sword storyline, which serves as the origin story for the legend itself? Let me know in the comments.
Well guys, that's all I have for you today. Until next time, Ramenko out.